everyone, welcome to this edition of the Just Teens television program. I'm Stacy Spencer, the executive producer and host of Teen Time Productions. You know what? We are right here in the center of some of the most beautiful Gulf Coast beaches in all of the world, and we are on the property of Gulf Coast Church and the House of Prayer for All Nations. If you're ever in this part of the country, we invite you to come by, check out this beautiful place of serenity and prayer. Go online and just check us out at the House of Prayer for All Nations at www.gulfcoastchurch.org. Pastor Randy Morris is the senior pastor. You know, it has been said across the country that between the ages of 12 and 19 years old for African American males, Hispanic males, that most of them grace the corridors of maximum security prisons all around the world. Well, in the state of Florida alone, we are number 7 in the nation with the highest rate of juvenile delinquency in the country. You know, when I decided to put this show together, and I was thinking about how to send the most powerful, positive, life-transforming message ever, I found out about a mystery motivator by the name of Anthony Walker. Well, I tell you what, many people have asked, who is this person? Where did he come from? You know what? I said, that's my sentiments exactly. Well, on this set, before we go into the rest of the program, we want to invite Anthony to tell you a little bit about his background, his story, and how he became this prisoner to poet. Anthony, welcome. You have a message that's just not geared toward teens, but you have a message that is powerful for everyone in the life of a teenager, from law enforcement to clergy to parents to guardians, guardian ad litems. You have something to say. So tell us about this life that started out good and then all of a sudden went bad and then it's getting good again.
Well, my name is Anthony Walker. I was born in Orangeburg, South Carolina. I grew up in the streets of Brooklyn, New York. I left Orangeburg at the age of 5. I started public school in Brooklyn, and then I started becoming a problem child. You know, I started disrespecting the teachers. I didn't want to listen to anything nobody had to say. I started smoking marijuana at an early age. I started playing with pills. I started doing things that was unordinary for a 7 to 8-year-old kid. And then I got kicked out of public school. You know, in the state of New York, every public school. I had a bad attitude. I didn't want to listen. I didn't care. I didn't care about nothing or nobody. I didn't even care about myself, let alone anybody else around me. So the state of New York said, you know what, Mrs. Walker, we're going to have to put in one place and one place only, a detention school, all boys school, where you want to fight, the teachers got a right to hit your back. I had no guidance. I had no self-direction of who I was, where I wanted to go, how I was going to get there. So I lost myself. So I started doing things to make myself feel better. I started seeking attention, and I started seeking it whichever way I could find it. So I started stealing. Started stealing with hubcaps, small little things. That wasn't big enough. Started stealing car radios. I wanted to be down. I wanted to be like the coolest dope boy on the block. Then at the age of 14, I started selling drugs. I wanted to be like, you know, Quarterfield, some of the big known dope boys that was in Brooklyn. You know, I see them with the big Mercedes Benz. I see them with the big diamond rings, the nice gold chains, you know. But I didn't know it was a price to pay behind all that. So I wanted to mimic them. I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be better. So I adapted the name Tony Rome, you know, this illustrious 14-year-old kid that had, you know, a crew of 25 other kids following him, selling marijuana, selling crack, selling whatever it was to make $1. And then I became a fearful person, whereas I didn't care about life itself.
So your name was Tony
Rome.
Rome, like do as the Romans do?
Do as the Romans do. At the age of 14, I got my first pistol, gun. I started shooting for fun. I started shooting at people. I didn't care. And then from that point on, I got my first armed robbery charge at the age of 17. I robbed a Supreme Court judge. All of a sudden, there's cop cars everywhere. SWAT, helicopters, everywhere. I jumped on a truck. I threw my gun in this man's food cart. The doors open up, 15 guns in my face. They drug me out, put me on the ground, put my hand behind my back. Is that him, Your Honor? Yes, it is. Take him straight to Rikers Island. First time I've ever experienced being locked up, where you had to fight for everything. Your manhood, you had to fight for your food, you had to fight just to lay down to be able to wake up the next day. So then I got sentenced to 1.5 to 4.5 years in prison. And from that point, I went to New York State Department of Corrections at 17.5 years old. They gave me 1.5 to 4.5 years in prison. Okay, I got my time. I thought it was still a game. I went up the road. As I went up this road, I came to this big prison called Elmira Correction Facility. Elmira Correction Facility, where they gave you numbers. You no longer become a name. You are now a number. You have no rights. You have no freedom. You do what you're told, when you're told, how you're told, and you don't talk back. I thought it was a game. So as this lieutenant was walking and telling all these inmates with these numbers, this is what I'm laughing, I'm giggling, it's a game. I got slapped down to the ground. Oh, I thought that was funny too. But then they put me in a hole for 60 days. 23 hours a day, nothing to eat but water and bread. Oh, then it didn't become funny, it became a reality. So they got me out that hole. They took me to my cell. There was a tall cell all the way in the back of C block, cell 7255. You'll never forget that. And I looked out the window and there was a 12-foot wall with barbed wires, 30 inches of snow in each corner of that wall. There was a gun tower with a guard with a semi-automatic rifle. Then I started crying. Tears came in my eyes. So when they received us, they gave us pen, paper, and I started writing, and I started crying, and I was like, what did I get myself into? And I got to become a man now. You know, I'm 17. Like, you know, what am I going to do? So I wrote this poem. And it's called Faraway Sounds, you know, because in the middle of the night I heard so many people crying out, so many people yelling, so many people fighting in prison. And I was afraid. It's faraway sounds behind prison walls, tiny little rooms and long halls, hearing many voices in the middle of the night. Oh Lord, something says my life just isn't going right. As I look into each new face, I clearly see I hate this place. I want my freedom most of all. But yet I cannot walk before I crawl. I've tried to blame the judges and others for my mistakes, but wake up, Anthony, common sense, that's all it takes. And I wrote that.
How long was your sentence?
It was 1.5 to 4.5 years, but I had an attitude problem. Parole denied. So from that point on, I really cut it up. I started having my friends that I thought was my friend bringing me drugs on the compound, the cell. Bringing me drugs to distribute. Then all of a sudden, you know, the warden said, you know what, since you've been here, my prison has nothing but been disrupted. Everybody want to do what you say do. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to ship you to a place that you can get in where you fit in at. They sent me to a maximum security prison, Comstock, New York. So up there, you're up there with the big boys now. No more juvenile. You're up there with the big boys. You're either going to become a man or you're going to become a woman. You're going to have to fight. You're going to have to prove who you are. You're going to have to stand up for your rights. And it's not with the system. It's with people that's doing 10 to 20 to life, 50 to life, death row inmates that's overturned, people that want to rape you, that want to steal everything you got, that don't care about taking your life in the blink of an eye. So my experience in Comstock was I met this guy, his name was Big T. He wanted to punk me out. He wanted to make me his woman. So that's when my manhood came to being challenged. So I told him I'll meet him in the showers. So from that point on, I knew what a shank was. He loved boys. He loved boys. he want me to be his girlfriend. Oh, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's not funny. When somebody's going to sexually sodomize you or rape you, it's not funny. At 17 years old, I had to stab him almost to death. That's not funny, taking someone's life, almost. So from that point on, I went into the hole. 90 days. More time was extended on me. So I wind up doing, out of 4.5 years, 3 years and 6 months, which is your release date. Automatically, they gotta release you. My homeboys, my friends, my comrades, as you call them, your partners. Oh, they met me with some dope, some money, some jewelry, cars, women, drugs. Oh, this is what's going on, Tony Rome. Come on, get down. Sure, that's when I started trafficking drugs and started selling drugs from New York to South Carolina, because I was the man. I had a name. I had a nice 190 Mercedes-Benz, nice jewelry. I had everything. But what I really didn't have, I didn't have no identity. I was being something that I thought was, which wasn't. It had no substance to it. So as I began to live that saga, I figured I'm the man. I'm not going to get caught. I'm not going to get caught. I'm the man. I'm this, I'm that. I'm it. But little do you know, everything you do in the dark is going to come to the light. What you think you're doing with your parents and they don't know, behind every action there is a consequence. And you're going to have to pay one way or the other. So by you think you're fooling your mom, your dad, your teachers, you're only fooling yourself. Because eventually that devil's going to come and he's going to ask you for that debt to be paid. So I paid my parole supervision off. I made it off parole. So then they say, well, Tony, you know what? The money's not really here no more. Let's start trafficking drugs down in South Carolina. Okay, yeah, let's start doing that. I started making money, $50,000 a week, $25,000 a day, sometimes $10,000.
I want to bring that out because this is really important. $50,000 a week you were able to hold in your hands?
Yeah.
Did it erase your hurt? Did it fulfill the empty void? Did it fulfill the desire that you wanted your father there? Did those things really compensate for everything that was going inside Tony Rome?
No.
Okay, tell him that.
Because I didn't know who Tony Rome really was.
Right. And you're still on parole at this time.
I still was on parole.
What happened next?
I completed my parole. So then
But you're still running?
I'm still running. I'm still trafficking drugs.
Down to South Carolina.
I'm still gambling. I'm still, you know, hey, these hicks down here, they don't know what time it is. Let me go down here and make some money. It's my hometown. Oh, I'm a big shot down here now. Oh, I'm well known. Okay. I want to be the general now. I want to be the head man. I don't want to be nobody's do-boy no more. I don't want to work for nobody. I want to work for me, Tony Rome. I want to do that for myself. So I robbed one of the biggest drug dealers in Brooklyn. I robbed him. I took what I thought was really mine from him. He didn't say anything. Later on that week, he still didn't say anything. As I'm coming out of the dope house with $30,000 cash in my pocket, my big chunk on my neck, my big chunk on my arm. Oh, I'm coming out. Somebody yoked me up and put an ice pick in me. Stuck me.
And you lived?
So, yes, I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
You are blessed.
Because I walked out of the building, I'm bleeding, I'm running, I feel my heart fluttering. As I begin to feel death inside me, they got me to the ER. There's this doctor that rushed me right to operating room 2. I seen the lights. And the first thing I told this woman, I don't want to die. I'm not ready to die. I'm too young to die. But I was a big man. I was a big man. I didn't care about what I did to cause what happened to me. So she started cutting my cavity bone.
And that's the bone.
Dead center of your chest.
And you're awake.
I'm awake. So she said, you feel that pressure like you're at the dentist? She explained to me, but she's opening up my cavity. So she's inside of me now. Minutes, Hours felt like minutes. I died on the operating table. I died. But God said it was not over. He said it was not my time. I never knew why. I didn't care why. I just beat death. So the doctor sees me. She says, come here. She takes me up to the x-ray room, x-rayed me. She called in 5 of her colleagues. And she says, I want you guys to sit down and look. So 3 days later, she did the same thing. She says, Anthony, I'm going to tell you what's puzzling us. Look, see these 5 x-rays right here? These are when you got stabbed. Your left ventricle of your heart was demolished. It was damaged. You were not supposed to be alive today. Sure. I'm telling you. But you're here. But what really scares me most of all, look at this. This is your left ventricle 4 days later after you got stabbed. It's stronger than your right. We don't see no scar tissues. If I didn't see the 52 staples I've had in your chest, you couldn't tell me I did open heart surgery on you. There's no more I can do for you here. You're blessed. We can't do nothing for you medically. There's nothing else wrong with you. So from that point on, I thought I was going to get better. I got worse. Got out the hospital, 52 staples in me. Back to Tony Rome again. Went to South Carolina, stayed down there, bought me a house, got me a couple of cars, a couple of Jeeps, some money, some jewelry, some women, some drugs. I started smoking crack and weed. Boonk, they call it in Florida. Lace, they call it in New York. Started making me crazy. I started manipulating people to do things for me because I had money. Everybody thought my money and my power was my respect. But you know what it was? It was fear. They feared me. They feared that I would take that same 45 or that same 9 and beat them down with it. They feared that I had these goons behind me. They gonna do what I tell them to do, and they feared for their life. So from that point on, I'm back on top, y'all.
This story touches people from coast to coast. What about that experience when you would just say you basically saw an angel? Or as some people would say, you're more than blessed, you're a miracle. And then you went back to doing the same mayhem you were doing that ended you up in the OR room.
Yeah, I was in the beginning. Because I had no identity. I had no clue. I've already drummed up in my mind I was Tony Rome. I became that gangster. I became that thug. I became the one that wanted all the power, the money, the glory. But I lost my soul. I lost myself. Like most people would say, you sold your soul to the devil. That I did. You know, that I did. So there was this older gentleman. He had put me in a halfway house, and it was a program somewhat similar to what we're doing now. And he took me into this place called CCI, Central Correctional Institute. I'm Mr. Cool, I'm Mr. Jazzy, I'm kicked back, I got a toothpick in my mouth. But there's these death row inmates that just got overturned from death row. He kicked my chair from under my feet, and I jumped up. He said, what are you gonna do to me? I'm already dead. I'm a dead man walking. So if I kill you, you would be nothing to me. My heart pumped. Like, whatever, I'm Tony Rome. You don't scare me. He said, you know what? You're one of the slick ones. It's going to catch up with you. I'm going to see you again. And I'm going to be the one to welcome you to CCI. I said, okay, whatever you say. So I started selling coke. I started manipulating people to rob their jobs, manipulating girls to set up this business so I can knock it off. I didn't care what it took for me to have the luxury car.
And you're still making $50,000 a week.
I'm still making money. I was greed.
Greed.
It was just greed. I didn't want for nothing. I didn't need anything. So from that point, I got caught up in conspiracy charges. Okay, I had 20 counts of conspiracy to commit robbery.
Wow.
20 counts. So they finally got a hold of me. I broke down. South Carolina Department of Corrections, I caught 20 counts of uttering forgery. 20 counts a conspiracy, 20 counts. Each one of those counts, 10 years. Each one of them, 10 years. Imagine 10 years of somebody telling you what to do, when to move, when not to move, and can lock you down for 23 hours a day and only 1 hour a day of recreation inside of 8 by 10 cell. And you don't get to wear what you want to wear. You get to wear what they say wear. Hello. This is their clothes. This is what you are. State property. I got arrested again. I got sentenced to 17/20/68. That's who I am again, y'all. I'm no longer a name. I'm no longer nobody. I'm a number. I'm a statistic. So, okay, I wound up getting 10 years out of 50. God blessed me again. It just hit me. So my attitude started becoming even worse. I started fighting on the compounds, having girls bring me drugs in, selling drugs on the compound. So the warden called me. He said, you know what? Since you hit my compound, my drugs, the stabbings, the fighting has gone up tremendously. You don't deserve to be in my prison. So you know what? We're packing your things right now, and we're going to shackle you. I want you off of my compound. I want you to go where you deserve to go. And only you're going to know that until you get there. So I left Greenville Correctional Facility. It's Greenville, South Carolina. And I was on a bus. Yeah, whatever. I'm laughing. It's a joke. It's a game. And I seen this big, horrible prison, worse than anything I've ever seen in New York. Sitting on this hill. Had to go through 5 gates to get in the prison. Finally got into prison. In the front of that prison says Central Correctional Institute, CCI. CCI. I finally made it. And guess who I seen? Mr. Ronald Smart was the warden's runner. And he seen me and he looked at me. He said, welcome home, Slick. It shattered me. He said, welcome to my house. This will be my house for the rest of my life.
So how long was that sentence when you went to CCI?
10 years.
10 years.
10 years. So when he got me, he was in charge of giving me my boots, my khakis, my bed assignment, everything. He said, I'm going to put you in the tunnel.
What is the tunnel?
The tunnel was like 100 to 200 feet before you get to see anything. Then you got open wards where beds lined up like a military bunk. Open showers, open everything. Open day room, no privacy, no nothing, no nothing. You in the ghetto.
In the tunnel, it's dark.
Yeah, but you got to walk through this tunnel to get to. So he said to me, you're gonna need 2 things to survive here. You're gonna need a sword and a shield, or you can have one thing I got. I said, what's that? He said, Jesus. Slick. And he like, come on, let's walk. And I walked down this tunnel, and as we're walking through this tunnel, there's this guy, he runs up on this other guy, he says, yeah, I told you I was gonna get you. I told you I was gonna get you. And he begins to stab him. He begins to hit him with a shank. But there's no COs between this tunnel. There's no COs in the beginning of the tunnel, no COs in the end. And he says, Slick, mind your business and keep walking. My heart dropped. The guy died in that tunnel.
In that tunnel?
He died.
Oh.
He died. And that's when I became a man and realized it's more to life than just this. That's when I started asking myself, who am I really?
So when you were going through this tunnel, did the gift of poetry hit you at all then? Could you think of anything, or were you so just paralyzed?
I was paralyzed. But as I laid in my bunk and watched young kids, 16, get raped in the middle of the night.
In prison?
In prison, get raped. Get pumped out by 2 and 3 guys that are doing 20 years, 30 years, that has nothing to live for. Hearing people cry out in the middle of the night. I was more or less focused on What am I going to do to get out of this hellhole? What am I going to do to avoid this? Yeah, I have heart. But what am I going to do? Catch a murder charge? What am I going to do now?
Because you already have 10 years.
My back is up against the wall. So my attitude changed. I started minding my business. I started writing. I started writing. I started praying. I started going to church. I stopped smoking weed.
You went to church in
prison.
In a maximum security prison. So would they have chapel or church?
They had church. They had churches
okay.
come in from outside, you know, to visit. And I started finding myself. As I got close to getting my time down, that's when somebody's going to try you. Because it's almost time for you to go home. I walk away from fights. You can call me a punk. You can call me what you want. Just don't put your hands on me. I'm whatever you want me to do. My sisters came to see me. My mom, she came to see me. She cried.
Your mom broke her heart.
Yeah, it broke her heart.
Her spirit.
Because she knew. She taught me better.
Yeah.
You know. But you, as a child growing up, we hear our parents, but we're not listening. And most of all, what I want to teach y'all and help y'all understand, learn to listen. Learn to listen, because you don't know everything. Girls, young ladies of America, whether you be Latino, black, it doesn't even matter, all nationalities. Remember one thing, take pride in yourself, dignity, self-respect. Then you won't be called that name. Then you won't have to worry about people talking about you, looking down on you. But when you're carrying yourself and walking with your head proud, and you take pride in your body, your temple of God, and you cherish it, then let them talk. Because you and I know, then guess what? I'm doing what's right by me. You got to learn to love yourself before anybody can love you. So these little knuckleheads telling you, young ladies, I hear with these little bodies and everything, oh, you my boo. Oh, I got you. They ain't got nothing for you. Nothing but a baby. Or AIDS. Or gonorrhea or syphilis. They can give you something you can't get back these days. And I tell my kids today, you hear me, but are you really listening?
Sure.
I heard her, but I wasn't listening. I wasn't paying no attention. I wanted to be the man I wanted to be.
We have been talking to Anthony Walker from Prisoner to Poet.
Realize what you see on TV is fiction. It's not reality. What you see in them streets in this world is reality. I had nephews that died because of who they was with. He died at 19 years old because he was with the wrong people. His homeboys, he's sitting on the stoop, his homeboys done ran. He didn't know what was even going on. Guess what? Them dreads came and shot him up, killed him, because of what his homeboys did. You better make God your best friend and your mama your partner, or your daddy. All this talking about my friend, you ain't got no friend. You better wake up and realize you ain't got no friend. Yourself is your best friend, because that keeps you out of trouble. And I'm going to be realistic with you. I done been shot. I done been stabbed. I done been hurt. Oh, yeah, I got enough bullet holes to show you. But why get shot? To feel a bullet. 200 degrees of heat inside you. Why? Why get stabbed in the heart and die? Why? Ask yourself, do you have to go down that road?